So if we don't acquire qualities, either good or bad, like I said, what we're talking about today applies to bad qualities as much as they apply to good qualities. Think about how all good qualities are interconnected. Bad qualities are like that too. They're interconnected. But if we don't acquire good, healthy qualities one at a time, distinct and separate, independent of each other, how do we acquire them? How do we go about acquiring, for example, the quality of patience, or the quality of kindness, or the quality of love, if they absolutely depend on those other good qualities in order to exist? Especially if we've been used to a lifetime of living with only false approximations of these qualities. For example, love is the big one. All of us who start off unhealthy, well, I should correct that. Nobody starts off unhealthy. We all start off healthy. It's our environments, the attitudes from our parents, which then make us unhealthy. But what I'm saying is that after living an entire lifetime of believing that we possess these qualities, and when we only really possess the faintest false approximations of them, how do we go about developing these qualities? Or how about, after a whole lifetime of believing that qualities like love are completely determined by whatever feelings we feel inside of ourselves. I feel affection. I feel tremendous affection. That's love. I can treat you any way I want, and there's no contradiction there because I still feel what I feel. Well, all qualities are developed together and gradually. Because they're all interconnected, they all develop together, slowly and gradually. As you go inching along developing the quality of patience, for example, the quality of patience, not just being patient in an occasion. Like in this one occasion, Brian was very patient. It was pretty impressive because he's such an impatient person. Well, that's not a quality I possess, being patient. It just means I was patient on that one time. So how do I develop the quality of patience? Well, as I go along, inching along, developing the quality of patience, for example, I necessarily and simultaneously am gradually strengthening other qualities at the same time. With who? With just other people? No, it all starts with ourselves. How loving and patient am I with myself? Because whatever I view as justifiable and acceptable in my dealings with myself, then necessarily this will apply also to my dealings with other people as well, and vice versa. Think about that example I used about demonstrating empathy with my daughter. What was another thing that was helping me exhibit that quality for her? Well, because if I were her, I wouldn't appreciate somebody not taking the time to try to understand how I'm feeling right now, to understand the context of the situation. So these things are all interconnected. That's how it was for me, by the way. You're probably wondering, if you're somebody who's at the beginning of this, Barnett, how did you get there? Like, what's the process for that? The process for that is you have to be mindful of things like love, patience, kindness, goodness, and understand that they do not exist independent of each other. They're interconnected. It's like, I'll tell you what it's like. I was just thinking of like a tank that has like tubes in it. As you're filling up the tank, the water level in all the tubes rises together. It's not like one tube fills up and then the next tube and then the next tube. If they're in that tank, as you're filling the water goes into the tubes, and the tubes, let's say you got 5 tubes, the water rises in the tubes almost perfectly together. That's what it's kind of like developing any quality. You got to understand, starting off, that if I want to develop the quality of love, of authentic, genuine love, for example, I can't do it in the absence of patience, of kindness, of these other good qualities. You're developing them all at the same time. That's the nature of the way that works. They gradually develop together. As you're working on one, you're strengthening the other. As you're strengthening that one, another one is being strengthened. And that's the way it works. And that was the way it was for me.